Hi everyone, Kate Byers with Corporate Women Unleashed, and I'm here for today's live video where we are going to be talking about leaning in or leaning out. And I don't know about you, but a lot of executive women are getting to a point of burnout and they're leaving very amazing roles, very influential roles in their company because they just can't take it anymore. And I can't tell you how many clients we have, right now that we're working with who are like, Kate, I'm just ready to quit. I've had enough. I'm done. So if that is you and you have felt that way, you've come to the right broadcast in the right place. I'm actually broadcasting today from my car because I'm on the way to, or I just got to St. Simon's Island, Georgia, where we are having a mastermind retreat. These are for our clients who work with us on a year-long basis. They are women who absolutely will not settle for anything but having absolutely what they want in life. And so we're doing a 4-day intensive with them, which is going to be really exciting. So I am almost to our really cool house that we've got for the weekend. We're at a beach house on an island. All right, so let's get back to lean in, lean out. So here's the thing. What we have to understand as women, and this is really, we are at it's very exciting. We're at the dawning of a new age of really understanding well-being and what creates a beautiful life, a life of well-being where you're like, yes, I'm not living in stress. I'm not living in anxiety. I'm not living in angst. I am living in comfort. I'm living in confidence. I'm living in certainty. And I'm just living, feeling just content. It's contentment. I don't want to use the word happiness because happiness is fleeting, but contentment. So this is what's exciting about it. But here's what you have to understand. It's not about leaning in, because that's what we've always been told. You have to lean in, lean in, lean in, and just work harder, right? That's not what it's about because you've done that. And that's what's gotten you to the point you're at. It's not about leaning out because then you start to sacrifice a lot of the things that you've always wanted. It's about getting above that conversation. And here's what is important to understand. And this is what took, where I really want you to understand, and this is where we take our clients on such a journey, is you have to understand human behavior. You have to understand what creates well-being if you're going to live with well-being, right? And so if you don't understand what it is, obviously, then we can't go get it. So it's none of the stuff that you read in the magazines. It's none of the stuff that you read in the books. It is truly making sure that your needs are getting met the most effectively that you can without making a bunch of psychological excuses for all these different reasons why you can't do it. And that's where we usually get tripped up. And women get tripped up much more than men for a couple of reasons. So let's understand this first. In order, right now, when you were younger, not right now, when you were younger to get your needs met, there was 2 needs that were your primary needs at that time. Now, all of your needs need attention at the same time, but some can be more critical to you at a different time in your life. So for example, your need for security was pretty important when you first left home or when you first graduated college, right? You needed to pay your bills. You may have had student loans. It's like, oh my God, can I get a job? Can I do this? So security was a primary need, and you were probably willing to work more than play more because you really needed to get established. Fine. And so you had more security strategies than you did leisure strategies at that time in your life. Now, this is actually something that I would argue we need to change in our society, and we need to change in our approach to what creates a successful life. However, this was the reality that you and I and all the rest of us grew up in. The other thing that was really important to you at the time was establishing a sense of efficacy, which is your ego or esteem, making sure you could survive. Can I survive on my own without mom and dad? Can I survive on my own now that I leave college, right? And so these are also 2 of the needs that were rewarded the most, right? When you came home from school and you got an A, you got a gold star, you got a cupcake. These are the types of things that, your boss comes up or your parents come up and they say like, oh, look at you, you did such a good job. So those 2 needs you have learned from a very young age are most critical to you, but they're not. They're no more critical than any other need. It just depends on what's going on in your life at the time. So here's what happens. As you continue, security, you continue to grow up in your career, and now you're director, senior manager, VP, C-suite, whatever it is, you're at this level. You have checked the security box. Let me just tell you. You may not think you have, because here's what happens. Fear starts to set in. But no doubt, you have financial resources at this point. You have also checked the esteem box. You are efficacious. You have proven to yourself, I can have a career. So now what happens is life has been happening all this time, right? 10, 15 years into your career, you've been maybe putting off working out, maybe putting off your health, maybe putting off marriage, or maybe you've gotten married And in the beginning, you and your husband said like, hey, no big deal. We'll just have dinner at 8 o'clock at night. It's no big deal if we both work late. And it was okay in the first year or two of marriage, the first 3 or 4 years. Maybe you've added children into the mix. And so now you have your need for connection with your children is now, knocking at your door. And so what's happened as you've moved on in your life is you have all these other needs that now are wanting more of your attention and require more of your attention to be met so you could be authentic, so you can feel calm, so you can live a content life. But you're still on this path where the only need you're serving or prioritizing is security and esteem, security and esteem, security and esteem. And so it's no wonder that you're burnt out, and it's no wonder that you just want to let go. It's because, and here's what you need to understand. Anytime you can make compromises for one need for the other. So for example, you might compromise some income so you can have more time with your children. That's okay. You're comfortable with that. That's an easier trade-off to make, right? Or you might compromise some time with your children in order to go to an out-of-town conference that is a real game changer for your career. Again, it's a compromise. It's not ideal, but it works. But when we get to a point where we're sacrificing one of our needs for another, you will start to burn out. You are no longer living authentically, and you are forcing yourself to be incongruent. Okay, and this is where the burnout's happening. And so the fix to that is to stop being incongruent. So for example, you might have a story that says, well, if I just really work hard for the next 10 years, then I can retire early. Okay, great. That sounds great in theory. But what is working hard costing you? Is it costing you your marriage? Is it costing you your health? Is it costing you your children? When you look out at some of those executive role models in front of you, sadly, a lot of the female role models we have, in many cases, they have made those sacrifices and they wear them on their sleeve proudly, which is sad. They're divorced. Their children are estranged. They're overweight. They're dealing with autoimmune issues. They may be dealing with early cancer issues, heart disease. And there's this sense, almost especially if you're a high achiever, that you wear that as a badge of honor. Like, look at me. Yes, I have, worked my way through cancer for the firm or whatever. And this is tragic because what that really is an overflowing of trying to meet that need for esteem and security that I just told you about. And these are strategies or actions or behaviors that have become so embedded psychologically that now they're overtaking your ability to have clarity of thought and really meet the other needs. So the answer isn't to lean out or to lean in. It's not to work harder or to pull the ripcord and not work at all or, go work it as a Walmart greeter. The answer is to be authentic to who you are and really decide what is it that you want. Like we have women that we work with and they're like, look, Kate, I love my career. This is part of who I am. I have a lot to offer, but I don't want to be on airplanes all the time. Okay, great. Well, let's change that. That's just the piece you need to change. You don't need to completely burn out. If you have a story in your head that you have to live on airplanes, well, that's just a story. There's plenty of incredible career opportunities out there, or even your employer may very well say, hey, look, if you don't want to be on airplanes anymore, we will make accommodations for you. You're that valuable. We have a lot of executive women where that happens as well. They actually ask for what they want. I know, as women, we don't like to do that. And they get it because we've changed the story, right? The story is no longer, oh, I'm living in fear. What will happen to my security? What will happen to my esteem, my efficacy if I don't just show up and do whatever my company wants, right? So your other needs are health, right? If you're not taking care of your health on a daily basis, if you're not eating right, if you're not at an appropriate weight, you don't need to look like a supermodel, obviously, but you do need to be taking care of your heart. You do need to be looking for cancer markers. You do need to be taking your supplementation and looking for all these different things that are important. You should be doing that. That gives you an incredible sense of energy, an incredible sense of empowerment. And now, of course, when you are at the office or with your husband or whatever, you're going to feel 9 times, 10 times, more present and actually be able to deliver at a higher level. So you have to be taking care of your health along the way. You can no longer push that down the road. And even if you find small bits of time, that's an important one. You have to increase your level of connection with the people you care about. Now, look, don't stress yourself out about going to every dinner party that the neighborhood, sponsors. That's just more stuff. That's not a priority right now. But you do need to go to some of that. You certainly need to be showing up and being present for the people who are really, your priority, your spouse, your kids. If you're single, dating, whatever it is, you need to make space for that. If not, you're not living authentically. Because those are needs that we all have to survive and thrive. Okay. You have to give time for leisure. You have to give yourself time to just lay on the couch, take a break, go take whatever it is, horseback riding lessons, or go do pottery night with the girls and all that stuff. Like, that is critical to your well-being. It is not the fruffy stuff that we've been taught, make your bed, then you can go out and play. You have to actually recognize that your needs are critical to your survival, but they're also critical to you thriving as a woman, especially with all the stress and all the pressure that can be put on us as executive women. If you're going into that battle without these tools and without this knowledge, then you are woefully unprepared. And that is why there is such a large percentage of women who, they're just not figuring this out. And they're like, okay, well, obviously working this hard isn't working for me. I'm miserable, so I'm just going to leave. And then it's like, well, now what do I do? Do I become an ice skating instructor? It's like, how do I get a lesser job? Because that's not authentic. That's not going to make you happy either. Unless, I should say, if you really want to be an ice skating instructor, go do that. Like, I'm all for your life you can be fluid. Definitely. If you always want to be an ice skating instructor, go do it. But my point being is, if you're just laying in bed fantasizing about, something other than what you're doing, that's probably not you moving towards your passion. That's probably you moving away from feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. Okay. So the real key here and the answer is to no longer feel like you have to make a choice either or. You get to have your cake and eat it too. But what you have to do is start making decisions and creating those actions that will fulfill the rest of those needs. And again, you might not always be able to fulfill them the way you want. Maybe you used to in your 20s, you went to spin class 7 nights a week and you had an hour and a half at the gym. Obviously, that's probably not going to be as available to you as you've added other interests in your life and other things going on, like family and your a broader career. But you can still get your health need met. You can still eat right. You can still do these other things. But we have this propensity, especially as women, to hold our breath and just put ourselves at the bottom of the list. We're going to wait. We're going to put it off. It'll happen next year. And the reason is that, again, originally when in your youth, when security and esteem were so important for you, that became a habit. And now it's still the habit that you're subscribing to. Does that make sense? And the thing is that you've got security and esteem in the bag. You just don't know it because now you're afraid you're going to lose it. So now we still continue as women to put all of our attention into security, esteem, and everything else comes second. Our relationships, our health, our self, our joy. We're no longer multidimensional women who can show up and be interesting and fascinating and really provide, an interesting perspective in the world. All we do is we work and go to bed. We work, we go to bed. We work, we go to bed. And it's tragic. And it does not have to be that way. So as women, the more of us that start showing up more authentically in the office and start changing the way we get to play by the rules, the more that this becomes commonplace for the women who are behind you, right? True that. Exactly, Chris. And I'm not putting that on you to put some guilt trip, like you've got to go out there and be a role model for everyone else. You got to put your own oxygen mask on first, right? So if you're burning out, the last thing you want to do is be doing all this for someone else. You need to do it for you because your life matters and your happiness matters and your contentment matters and you matter. Your marriage matters. Your relationships matters. The quality of your life matters. And if you're not going to take that seriously and if you're not going to honor that, certainly no one else is. Your boss isn't. Your company isn't. The other people in your life aren't. So you have to really stand up and say, look, I don't want to lean out and I don't want to lean in. I want to lean up. Maybe that's what we need, a new term. I don't know, lean up. We need to get above that conversation and say, wait a minute, why do I, as an executive, have to sacrifice myself? I mean, no, I'm not going to be a 9-to-5er. That's fine. But why do I have to sacrifice my joy? Why do I have to sacrifice what's good for me? Why do I have to sacrifice being authentic? I can't say that word enough. I mean, once I really, learned what was authentic to me, and that was a big piece of what we teach our clients as well. Yeah, level up. I love this, Chris. Is once we understand what's authentic and what we really want, and we stop feeling bad about wanting it, and we stop feeling afraid to go ask for it, guess what? It happens, right? Like one of the very first things we do for all of our clients is a visioning kind of exercise where we say, why are you doing this? And what does that new life look like? Because the vision we all have in our mind is we're supposed to work, put our head down, do what we're told, make money, and somehow we're going to be happy someday, and we're going to be a success. And then all of a sudden we look up and go, wait, I got success, but where's the happiness piece? Where's the contentment? Where's the fulfillment? Why am I not thriving? So you've got to replace that vision, and then you've got to start realizing that you've got to create well-being for yourself. And it's going to be a little bit different for everyone, because the strategies I'm going to choose are going to be different than the ones Chris is going to choose who's watching, or Joanna who's watching, or Abby, right? Everyone's going to have a little bit different action that's going to bring them the fulfillment in each of these needs. But you have to understand that if all you do is focus on security and esteem, you will absolutely burn out every time. And this is why we're seeing so many women who just go, I'm pulling the ripcord, because they can't figure it out. And all you have to start doing is understanding you have got to start paying attention to those other needs, right? And again, it may be in some really unique ways that you didn't expect. You may have to be creative about it. But as long as you stay true to that and you start showing up that way, you will thrive. And you don't have to give up the life you've worked so hard for. So it has started to rain here. I hope the sun comes out on this beautiful little island that we're staying at. But even if not, we're tucked into this gorgeous little beach house that's going to be really cozy for us. So I look forward to talking to you guys again next week on the next broadcast. Thank you for showing up, everyone. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye, guys.